courtroom thought it was just another case, until one sentence changed everything. The courtroom was packed. People whispering as a black teenager, Marcus stood nervously before the bench. He wore a simple shirt and jeans, clutching his backpack like a shield. He wasn't a criminal, he was there for a minor traffic violation. But the judge, Judge Harrison, leaned forward with a sharp scowl. "Another troublemaker," he muttered, loud enough for the whole room to hear. "You kids think you can break the law and walk away without consequences?" The courtroom grew silent. Marcus swallowed hard, his hands trembling. He tried to explain, "Your Honor, it was just silence," Harrison barked, slamming his gavel. "I don't want excuses from you people." Gasps spread through the courtroom at those words. "You people." Marcus lowered his head, humiliated. The judge smirked, clearly enjoying the authority. "You should be grateful I don't lock you up today," Harrison continued, his voice dripping with arrogance. "If it were up to me, you'd learn what happens when kids like you think they're above the rules." Marcus's face burned with shame. The bailiff glanced uncomfortably. Some people in the crowd shook their heads, but nobody dared to speak. The judge leaned back, dismissing him with a wave. "Now get out of my courtroom before I change my mind." Marcus picked up his backpack and turned slowly, his humiliation echoing in the quiet room. But just as he reached the door, a firm voice called out from the gallery. Everyone turned, and the color drained from Judge Harrison's face. The man Judge Harrison mocked was no ordinary teenager. The entire courtroom froze as footsteps echoed against the marble floor. A tall man in a dark suit rose from the gallery. His presence alone commanded silence. "Governor." I didn't expect, but the governor didn't even look at him. He walked straight to Marcus, resting a reassuring hand on his son's shoulder. The teenager's eyes lifted with relief, his shame slowly melting into strength. The governor turned sharply toward the bench. "Judge Harrison, why did I just hear you humiliate my son in front of this court? Did I hear you say you people?" The judge swallowed hard, sweat forming at his temples. The courtroom erupted with whispers, phones clicking on as people recorded the scene. I was simply enforcing the law, Governor," the judge stammered. "I didn't know. You thought he was just another black kid you could belittle. You thought you could strip him of dignity because you wear a robe and hold a gavel." The crowd murmured louder, their eyes darting between the governor and the shrinking judge. Marcus, for the first time, lifted his chin. The governor's voice thundered. "You didn't just disrespect my son, you disrespected the office of justice. And I will make sure this entire state knows how you run your courtroom." The judge's lips trembled, his authority crumbling with every word. The gavel that silenced others could not save him now. The courtroom was no longer under Judge Harrison's control. Every eye, every camera phone was fixed on the governor as he stood tall beside his son. Governor Reed stepped closer to the bench, his tone sharp and unshakable. "You sit here, hiding behind your robe, thinking respect is something you can deny. Today that ends," the judge stuttered. "Governor, please, I didn't." The governor raised a hand, silencing him. "No, you did." The entire world just watched. He gestured to the dozens of phones recording the spectacle. "This court will not be remembered for justice today. Will be remembered for your arrogance." The whispers turned into applause. Even the bailiff, usually silent, looked relieved. Governor Reed turned to the clerk. "Effective immediately, I am filing for Judge Harrison's suspension. And until further notice, he will not preside over another case in this state." Gasps echoed. The judge's face went pale, his gavel slipping from his hand and clattering to the floor. The sound was final, like the death of his authority. Marcus stood a little taller, his shame transformed into quiet pride. His father placed a hand on his shoulder again, whispering, "Never let anyone tell you that you're less than what you are," as they walked out together. The crowd erupted in cheers, clapping for the teenager who just proved that power built on hate always collapses. End of story. The boy who was humiliated left with dignity, while the man who mocked him lost everything.